Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Comrade Irfan, Comrade Bharat, Comrade Donald, all the comrades this afternoon, good day. Today is an important day for all of us. Isn't that so? You know, we had the fusion of the drums. The drums tell a story of national unity. That is the story of the drums just now. Do you agree with me? And you know, when we sat on the stage, that's after moving around and reaching everybody, I marveled. I commented to His Excellency that we have a larger crowd today. Isn't that so? And you know, when we have gatherings like this, unlike the other side, the opposition, we don't want the cameras just to focus on the stage. The camera must do a roving camera and show the entire nation and the entire world the crowd that is assembled here today to pay homage to Dr. Cheddi Jagan, the legacy of Dr. Cheddi Jagan, who remains our guiding light as we manage the affairs of this country. Isn't that so? And you know, later in my speech I will talk again about it. But today, assembled, and indeed the camera must do their work, guidees from all walks of life, all races, all religion, all orientation are assembled here today. And that would have made Dr. Jagan proud. He would be happy, had he been alive today, to celebrate his 107th birthday, to see the assembly here today. Isn't that so, comrades? Say it loud, clap, let them hear. And you know why I want you to clap, let them hear? Because this is crucial times for us. This is an election year. And we have to remain focused. The only guidance I'm giving in my speech is that I have to say what I want to say, but stay within the time limit. So I will stay within the time limit. Comrades, we must leave here today understanding 7 important points from the legacy of our visionary leader, Dr. Cheddi Jagan. The first point, democracy and political freedom. Dr. Jagan was a firm believer in democracy and the rights of citizens to freely participate in the political process. Very important, because many of you, I know, are subjected to abuse by many of the leaders of the opposition because you choose to support the PDP. And you must tell them, you see what I'm wearing here? We have broken the bonds. We have broken the bonds that held people in bondage. We are free today. We are free in every aspect of the word of freedom today. And you have a right, you have the freedom to exercise your democratic right to support the PDP. That is what Dr. Jagan stood for. Dr. Jagan also stood for many, many other things that you're enjoying today. The next one, education and empowerment. Some of the speakers talked about it before. Dr. Jagan was the one who set up the first national university here in Guyana in 1963, at a time when we had doubters who felt that we should have a university. That university is still standing, and many of our leaders, including myself, are graduates of that university. These are the things we must remember. Universal secondary education was started by Dr. Jagan. And today, after a series of economic challenges, our government has returned us to universal education from nursery to university. So nursery, secondary, and university education. Economic independence. the third aspect, and development. It was the long-standing belief of Dr. Jagan that Guyana's economy should be diversified, moving away from its reliance on a few sectors like sugar and bauxite. He advocated for the industrialization and the development of agriculture, such as rice and livestock, agro-processing, to promote national self-sufficiency. Dr. Jagan, with this diversification, our economic strategy is aimed at reducing dependence on natural resources and create local linkages and productive employment. Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, in his government, continue emphasizing the significance of this strategy in the face of global economic shocks and global policy changes. Our government today didn't only plan, but is actively utilizing the revenue from oil and gas to diversify our economy and invest in our human capital. So, One Guyana is not just a catchword. It is guiding our development of both the people of Guyana and the whole infrastructure of Guyana. So when we talk about One Guyana, we are very serious of bringing development to every Guyanese, in every community, in every village, in every town, in every region, and throughout the length and breadth of Guyana. That is what we're talking about. When we talk about shared prosperity, every Guyanese will benefit from the revenues garnered by our nation. That is the legacy that we follow in of Dr. Jagan. Social justice and equity. Again, Dr. Jagan was committed to improving the standard of living of all Guyanese, particularly the poor and the working class. Today, the poor and the working class are house owners in Guyana. They have equity, they have cartage, they have documents that they could go to the bank, any lending agencies, and do business because they are house owners. That is something that we achieved and we must cherish as a people. Dr. Jagan, in his anti-colonial and anti-imperial stance, also committed to ensure that Guyana remain politically sovereign and free from the influence of foreign powers. As a government, we are taking that seriously today. Many of the fly-by-night academics, and some of them who should have been retired a long time ago, are today accusing us of not funding our security forces. But we must remember what happened between 2015 and 2020 when they defunded and demoralized our security forces. We have changed that today. In keeping with the legacy of Dr. Jagan, that all sectors of our economy must benefit and sovereignty of our nation must at all times be upheld. Equality for all Guyanese. He sought to create a more egalitarian society where we believe that the wealth of the nation should be redistributed to the working class with a focus on welfare of the working class. Ladies and gentlemen, we are building hospitals for free medical services to all the people of Guyana. We are building schools, primary and secondary schools, for free education to all our children. We building infrastructure not only to attract foreign direct investment, but to improve the lives and livelihood of all of you here. You go to your streets, in your villages, some of the roads were dirt roads, some were sand. During the rainy summer tracks, during the rainy season, you have to deal with mud. During the dry season, you have to deal with dust in your nose. Today, you have concrete roads, you have asphalted roads, and that will continue until every community gets the roads and services that they need. I think that's not all in terms of bringing social justice, equity, and unity for our people and freedom in Guyana. Dr. Jagan had a profile on the international stage with his new global human order, which was adopted by the General Assembly of the United Nations on November 24, 2000. The new global human order promotes a global partnership for peace and development. It calls for mutual respect, democratic governance, and popular participation to address development challenges, eradicate poverty, and reduce disparities within and among countries. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the things that we enjoy today, all of the results of the legacy of Dr. Jagan. And these are the things that we continue to struggle on the international scene to ensure many other countries have similar benefits for the people. Very important. But you know what? The struggle is real and the struggle continues. Don't let us fall into some false sense of security. The powers that be, the opposing forces, are continue to fight to wrest power from you, who ensure that you democratically elected the PDPC to government. You know, one time they talk about barometrics, and then when they're told that we already have barometrics, it's now talking about enhanced barometrics. You know, so from one thing to the other, they're struggling to wrest power, but we know what happened. We created a framework for democracy to prevail in Guyana. They won the elections in 2015. They ruled from 2015 to 2020, and they took this country backwards in all regards, including the democratic progress that we made. Because they lost the election in 2020, and for 5 months they held on to power illegally. But we put up a fight, and you know what? That fight remains real, as I said before, because the destructive forces are at it again with many disruptive actions as we lead up to our elections. So we have to remain firm. We have to remain focused in terms of our defense of democracy in Guyana. Very important. And our youth, and I'm happy that many of our youth are here, you have an important role to play. We will facilitate activities and opportunities for youth empowerment, but the youth must take their position in leadership, in development, and in the struggle to defend democracy in Guyana. Very important. So youth don't stay in the background. You could continue your education, benefit from all the free opportunities, but you have an active role in defending democracy in Guyana, in keeping with the legacy of Dr. Jagan. Today in Guyana, women, indigenous people, our youth all play an active role in politics at all levels, the local, the regional, and the national level. And this is one thing that Dr. Jagan would be proud of, that our General Secretary has ensured that this happens, and happens in a real sense, for all Guyana to benefit and to participate in the development of Guyana. Citizen participation is very important for us as we pursue and deepen this democratic path. Very important. And again, thanks to our General Secretary for his leadership in that regard. The PDP, see, today remains the only national political party where you have women, you have indigenous people, you have African Guyanese, you have youth, and you have the aged like myself in leadership positions. Round of applause to that. Somebody mentioned that age is experience. I'll take that. However, we must ever be vigilant in our efforts to defend democracy and the will of the people. Very important. We must not forget what happened between 1968 and 1992. The years of struggle by Dr. Jagan, who at no time decided that he will withdraw or he will retire. He struggled until the end, and in 1992, we saw the return of democracy in Guyana. That itself is a lesson for us not to become complacent, not to give up this struggle. Very important. And with the leadership of Dr. Babu Jaan and Dr. Irfan Ali, we will continue this struggle. We will continue to provide dynamic leadership to Guyana. Dynamic leadership is important because we operate in an ever-changing environment. The contemporary operating environment in Guyana today is one of changes, and from time to time, we have to go back to the drawing board and come up with new solutions to the current problem. But at all times, people, I want to assure you that we remain guided by the visionary policies and principles announced by Dr. Cheddi Jagan many years ago. Comrades, we are fighting men and fighting women. Are you ready to continue to fight? Are you ready to continue to fight to defend democracy, to defend the sovereignty of Guyana, to ensure that social justice continue in our country, to ensure that development comes to every community in our country? That is what we would like to lead, and that is what we would like you to accompany us in. Very important. I think my time is running out. But you know what? Let us not give up the fight. Let us fight against racism. Let us fight against division in our communities. Let us fight against corruption. And let us continue to keep the vision of Dr. Cheddi Jagan alive. Thank you very much.